Basically, as James just pointed out for us, we had PMI numbers. I believe we had French PMI numbers. Was it German? Let's go back to today. Yep. So we had German and French PMI numbers that came out, and clearly a little bit of a shock factor, perhaps in the flash services PMI area for the German PMI numbers, and then also for the French, we see, of course, kind of an as expected reading in terms of manufacturing, but services seem to kind of disappoint, showing a potential slowdown or some economic slowdown over there in Europe. So, of course, that caused a big sell-off in the euro. Take a look at the euro, guys. Nice move to the downside there, and actually here catching a little bit of a bounce ahead of US PMI numbers. As James mentioned, we do have, of course, up next, the US is going to be reporting the PMIs for manufacturing and services. This is going to give us an idea, guys, as to where where the economy is at. Are things strengthening? Are they weakening, right? And remember that with the key thing with PMIs is that a reading below 50 is usually a sign of contraction, and a reading above 50 is a sign of expansion. So it is expected here, a way to read this is that services are expected to slightly expand while manufacturing is expected to slightly contract. Okay, so a couple things to look at, and now onto the charts. Euro USD selling off, and a pretty big sell off at that. You had a move here of, in this candle, about 45 pips. That's a pretty substantial move to the downside there on the euro, and that's following a big sell off of 90 pips the day before, right? So here's the thing. I think that if you're looking at the euro right now, the euro looks really weak. However, we still kind of have to wait on PMI numbers out of the US to really be confident in that idea, because again, PMI numbers in the US could come out very weak as well, and that could cause the dollar to tank and the euro to rise. So I wouldn't jump the gun too quickly. However, sellers seem very strong here, and this is a 1 hour chart, and I'll show you guys where I'm at with this. You kind of have a fib here that looks really interesting on the euro, right? So if you draw from swing high to swing low here, you have this kind of big push off of the highs down here, and now a possible pullback kind of ensuing as we come into the US PMI numbers. That 61.8% retracement looks very, very intriguing for possible sell side continuation. If you've been short on the euro or selling the euro USD, then congratulations, you've caught some good moves here. We've been very bearish on the euro for the last few weeks. It's getting a -7 reading on the EDGEFINDER right now, so we're getting a very bearish reading out of the euro at this time, and I find that to be a very kind of something to pay attention to, right? So the euro currently is very, very bearish on the charts here.
Did you know that you can watch Trader Nick live stream every morning, Monday through Friday, with guests from all around the world? Each morning right here on the A1 Trading YouTube channel, we put on a live show where Trader Nick, along with some very special guests, go over their charts and ideas for every kind of asset. We do a live reaction to news drops and do analysis immediately following. You never know what's going to happen during one of our streams, so come be a part of the live stream community. You can find our live streaming schedule on the A1 Trading Twitter account each week, so you never miss a news event.
People asking about gold in the chat. I got stopped out on gold. I am no longer in my gold short, and I'm glad that I'm not, because price has moved higher here, it seems, ahead of PMI numbers. And guys, this is something to be a little bit hesitant about here. We're seeing gold rally and really break this downward structure. To be honest, it does seem like the sellers have kind of been put on hold. I ended up selling it at resistance here, and what is the end of, I guess, a really good winning streak for me. I sold gold 3 or 4 different times last week, and then I sold it again as we kind of entered into the sideways, thinking, hey, we could probably keep going back down. We did initially move down. It was a nice start to the trade, and then ultimately buyers came back in, broke us through the highs, and I stopped out. So I'm not in this gold short anymore, and I'm probably on the sidelines now. I'm probably not going to sell it again. I think that the selling train has ended, and honestly, 3 wins, 1 loss, I can't really complain. So 3 wins, 1 loss, all good things must come to an end. You know what I mean? So we shorted gold a couple different times, and net made plenty of gains relative to the loss that we took. but it happens. The end to the trend seems to have come in today. We'll see though. It's not necessarily all over for the dollar, for the gold bears. But again, for me, I can't short something once it starts breaking all this structure. Again, I took my shorts when I was supposed to, and the last one didn't work out. That's how it goes. Again, Euro looks really, really weak here today, guys. I pointed this out. Possible pullback up into this resistance area could be very interesting. You got the 61.8% retracement around the 1.0845 level, which is right around here. That could be interesting. Again, we're getting a sell bias in the EDGEFINDER, so I'll keep an eye on that. Nothing is jumping out to me in terms of sell side interest right now at current price levels. You do have the Australian dollar, which I'd like to check out as well. We've got a few minutes here before PMI numbers. Excuse me. And so let's take a look at the Australian dollar. This one is not really trending very well for me here. If anything, it looks like it has a slight kind of counter uptrend going on to the higher time frame. So I probably wouldn't touch that one. Pound USD getting a sell bias as well. Take a look at Pound USD. Oh, this is kind of interesting. The pound did in fact attempt to break the lows. I would say it didn't quite get there. Found support at the pinnacle. I guess what's the opposite of a pinnacle, right? Pinnacle is like the ultimate high, right? The ultimate low. The very, very low point of this area here for the Pound USD has been hit and bouncing off of it this morning. If we break through the lows, perhaps there's something there. But right now the pound looks like it's trying to bounce. Again, and we also have PMIs right around the corner. So I'm not taking any trades right out the gate right now, guys, because again, we have news coming in just a few minutes. And I'm not a big fan of jumping into trades right before news if I can avoid it. NASDAQ, let's take a look at the 4 hour. 4 hour still looks sketchy. Oh, you have this. This will be very interesting to watch where things go with the NASDAQ. Very, very bearish level, I would say, right here. If this breaks out, it's a different story. But I would say there's a strong probability that we see some sell interest come in here. Again, PMI numbers right around the corner, so I'm not trying to predict what's going to happen with the news there. But we are at a really key level of resistance if you're watching the NASDAQ. This is, of course, a 4 hour chart. Kind of potentially double top forming here off of like the 1 hour and the 30-minute, right? Possible kind of double top forming. It's a really ugly version. It's almost just like a lower high. But I would say if you're cautious on NAS, you've got this support level as well. If this thing is able to like break that, sellers could probably take control. Am I bearish or bullish? Not really. I'm kind of just in the neutral camp at this time. But I would say from a technical perspective, that looks very, very sketchy up in this area, right? You've had a little bit of a run up, but it's still kind of a seller's market at this time. So yeah. Yeah, very, very, very careful stuff. Are you looking at NASDAQ still?
Yes, so I'm actually in a short on NAS.
Okay.
But basically I'm looking at the 1 day. Let me share my screen really quick.
Okay.
So this is what I see. Well, actually you have like the same thing drawn up, but on my screen, I have the that same trend line, but yesterday's price action tested that line, got rejected, basically ended up at break even again, and slightly bearish. But what it looks like on a technical level is, further moves lower. Again, we have PMI data coming out, so I would say if it comes in hotter than expected, we could probably see like maybe some good news or bearish news, I mean, for the market, which would be good news for my short.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took it based off the last day's candle and just looking for some more confirmation, hopefully. But my stop is above yesterday's high.
Okay.
And just writing that for now. And I know I took a long on Monday on the S&P. So basically right now I feel like this is a trader's market. Like we've seen this before where price moves up pretty steeply and then comes back down. So just trying to trade this sort of momentum, I guess. But ultimately, today is looking not as bullish, but
Yep.
still
I
got
mean,
to
Frank,
wait
we
for
just
the
had the PMI numbers coming out here in just a second. I'll just take the screen for just a second. PMI numbers should be coming out. We just had 51 here, slightly less than expected and less than expected here for manufacturing. So manufacturing came in a good bit less than what was expected, while flash services PMI were expected to hit 52.1. We got 51 instead. First reaction would probably be weak for the
spike,
dollar here. Let me
probably.
just pull up. Yeah, let's see. DXY actually coming down pretty hard off of this, pretty quick, right? So showing some contraction in the U.S. economy, and gold probably shooting higher. Yeah, there goes gold, but up into the 19 teens, right? 1913 getting printed here. The S&P 500 seeing a little bit of a bounce. NASDAQ seeing a little bit of a bounce as well. You mentioned you've got your stop above yesterday's highs, so we'll have to watch that one. The euro probably, a bit of a spike there as well. And I mentioned I don't hate the idea of a possible short on euro USD, but to be honest though, this number is kind of sketchy, right? This is showing some weaker economic numbers out of the US.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EDGEFINDER, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.